Hello students, this is Hammaad and you are watching Nios Education Point। तो आज की इस वीडियो में हम लोग क्लास 10 का इकोनॉमिक्स जिसका कोड है 214 उसका हम लोग आज TMA सॉल्व करने जा रहे हैं। तो बिना किसी देरी किए चलिए शुरू करते हैं। तो ये हम लोग का इकोनॉमिक्स का TMA का क्वेश्चंस है। हम लोगों ने 1 में ए चूज किया है, वो है economics is defined on the basis of sustainable development due to excessive misuse of resources. Explain the statement with a suitable example। इसका आंसर है economics as a field of study is concerned with the allocation of scarce resources in order to achieve the greatest possible level of economic growth and development. However, in recent years, there has been an increasing recognition of the importance of sustainable development in the field of economics. This has led to a shift in the way that resources are used and are managed, with a greater focus on preserving and protecting them for future generations. One example of this shift towards sustainable development in economics can be seen in the way that natural resources are used and managed. In the past, natural resources were often exploited for short-term economic gain without considering the long-term consequences of such actions. This led to the overuse and depletion of resources, such as forest and fisheries, which had a negative impact on the environment and the economy. Today, there is a greater emphasis on sustainable resource management, which involves using resources in a way that preserves and protects them for the future. For example, many countries have implemented policies and regulations that limit the amount of resources that can be extracted from a particular area, and that required companies are replant or restore areas that have been depleted. These policies have helped to ensure that resources are used in a sustainable way, which has helped to protect the environment and promote economic growth. Another example of sustainable development in economics can be seen in the way that energy produced and used in the past. Energy production was often focused on fossil fuels, which are non-renewable and have negative impacts on the environment. However, today there is a greater focus on renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power, which are sustainable and do not contribute the climate change. In conclusion, economics is defined on the basis of sustainable development due to excessive misuse of resources as as it is essential to measure to ensure that resources are used in a way that preserves and protects them for future generations. This has led to a shift in the way that resources are used and managed, with a greater emphasis on sustainable resource management and renewable energy production. This is important for both the environment and the economy, as it helps to ensure that the resources are used in the responsible and sustainable way, which promotes long-term economic growth and development. तो हम लोग का क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 कंप्लीट होता है। अब हम लोग चलते हैं क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 में। तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 में हम लोगों ने बी चूज किया है और वो है द इंक्रीजिंग resources in the economy provides the basis meeting the increasing words needs of man and also solve the central problems. Explain the statement with a suitable example. तो इसका आंसर है the statement suggests that the economy grows and reduced resources become more abundant. It becomes possible for individuals and societies to meet their needs and address important issues. An example of this can be seen in the history of industrialization. Prior to the Industrial Revolution, the majority of people lived in rural areas and were engaged in agriculture. Many people lived in poverty and struggled to meet their basic needs. With the advent of industrialization and the increased availability of resources such as coal and iron, economies began to grow and society became more industrialized. People began to move from rural areas to cities and take advantage of new job opportunities in factories and other industries. This led to an overall improvement in living standard as people were able to earn higher wages, access new goods and services, and improve their quality of life. Additionally, the industrialization also led to technological advantages, which then led to further increase in resources, leading to further growth of economy and improvement in standard of living. For example, the development of new technologies such as the steam machine and the spinning jenny led to increased productivity in manufacturing, making it possible to produce more goods at a lower cost. This in turn led to lower prices of consumer goods, making them more affordable for more people. Overall, the statement suggests that the resources become more abundant in an economy. It becomes possible to address important issues such as poverty and improve the overall standard of living for individuals and society as a whole. This can be seen in the example of industrialization, where the increase of resources led to economic growth and improvement in living standard. तो हम लोग का क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 भी खत्म होता है। चलिए हम लोग क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 में चलते हैं। क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 में हम लोगों ने ए चूज किया है और वो है डिमांड एंड सप्लाई प्ले एन इम्पोर्टेंट रोल in the marketing determine the price of a commodity. Examine this statement with the help of diagrammatic presentation. इसका आंसर है this statement demand and supply play an important role in the market to determine the price commodity is a fundamental principle of economics. This it refers to the relationship between the quantity of a good or service that consumer consumer are willing and able to purchase, demand, and the quantity that producer are willing and able to supply at different prices. In different prices, this interaction between these two forces ultimately determine the market price of a commodity. A diagrammatic representation of this relationship is known as a supply and demand curve. The demand curve shows the quantity of a good or service that consumer and are willing to purchase and at different prices, while the supplier curve shows the quantity of a good or service that producers are willing to supply at different prices. When a demand for the commodity increases, consumers are willing to pay a higher price for it. This causes the demand curve to shift to the right as shown in the diagram below. As the demand curve shifts to the right, the market price of the commodity increases and the quantity of the commodity demand increases as well. On the other hand, when the supply of commodity increases, producers are willing to sell it at a lower price. This causes the supply curve to shift to the right. As the supply curve shifts to the right, the market price of the commodity decreases and the quantity of the commodity supplies increase as well. When the demand and supply curves intersect, the market price of the commodity is determined. This point is known as the equilibrium point, and it represents the market price at which the quantity of a commodity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied. The market price is determined by the forces of supply and demand, and it is constantly changing as these forces change. In conclusion, demand and supply play a crucial role in determining the market price of a commodity. The demand and supply curves are used to represent this relationship graphically, and the intersection of these curves represent the equilibrium point or market price of a commodity. This market price is constantly changing as the demand and supply of the commodity change, and it is the result of the interaction between these two forces. तो हम लोग का क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 भी खत्म हो चुका है। तो हम लोगों को चलना चाहिए अब क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 में। क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 में हम लोगों ने ए चूज किया है और वो है सपोर्ट प्राइस इज कंसिडर्ड एज अ instrument of the government to protect the interest of the producers, especially the farmers. Elaborate this statement with graphical representation. तो इसका आंसर है support price is a price which at which the government guarantees to purchase a certain agricultural commodity from farmers. The main purpose of this policy is to protect the interest of farmers by ensuring that they receive a fair price for their produce, even during times of market fluctuations and surplus productions. One way the represent this concept graphically is taught a supply and demand diagram. The graph would show the market equilibrium price where the quantity supplied equal and quantity demanded, as well as the support price set by the government. In times when the market price is below the support price, the government would step in the purchase and the surplus at the higher support price, thereby establishing the market and ensuring that farmers receive a fair price for their produce. Another way to represent this concept is through the line graph showing the trend of market prices for the certain agricultural commodity over time along with the line for the support price. This would demonstrate how the support price acts as a flow for market prices, ensuring that they do not fall below a certain level and protecting the interest of farmers. In additional, in addition, the protecting the interest of farmers support prices can also be used as a tool for achieving other government objectives such as food security, stabilizing prices and income redistribution. However, it is important to note that support prices can also have negative effects such as encouraging overproduction and reducing incentives for farmers to improve efficiency. Therefore, government should use support prices with caution and consider other policies as well. तो हम लोग का क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 खत्म होता है, तो चलिए क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 में चलते हैं को। तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 में हम लोगों ने फिर से 5 का ए चूज किया है और वो है डिस्टिंग्विश बिटवीन परफेक्टली कॉम्पिटिटिव मार्केट एंड मोनोपोली मार्केट। तो इसका आंसर है a perfectly competitive market is one in which there are many buyers and sellers, all of whom have perfect knowledge of the market and can freely enter or exit the market. In this type of market, no single buyer or seller has a power to influence the market price. The market price is determined by the intersection of the supply and demand curves. The contrast, a monopoly market is one in which there is a single seller who controls the entire market. This seller, known as the monopolist, has the power to influence the market price by controlling the quantity of goods or service supplied. Because the monopolist is the only seller buyer have no alternative to the monopolist goods or services, and the monopolist can charge a higher price than would be possible in a perfectly competitive market. Perfect competition is considered as an ideal type of market structure, as it is characterized by a large number of small firms, monogeneous products, easy entry and exit, and perfect information. In this market structure, firms are price takers, meaning they are unable to influence the market price, and the market price is determined by the interaction of the buyers and sellers. On the other hand, monopoly is a market structure in which there is only one firm producing a particular goods or service and there are no close substitutes. The firm is a price maker, meaning it can influence the market price, and the market price is determined by the firm's production decision. Monopoly firms often have barriers to entry such as patents or economies of scale which prevent new firms from entering the market. In summary, the perfectly competitive market is characterized by many buyers and sellers, all of whom have a perfect knowledge of the market and can freely enter and exit market. On the other hand, the monopoly market is characterized by a single seller who controls the entire market and has the power to influence the market price. तो हम लोग का क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 भी खत्म हो गया है। तो चलिए हम लोग क्वेश्चन नंबर 6 में चलते हैं। तो 6 में हम लोगों ने बी चूज किया है और वो है ये, प्रिपेयर अ short project on the topic scheme for primary and secondary education on the basis of the following points. Point number 1, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan SSA, National Program of Midday Meals in School, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan RMSA, Inclusive Education for the Disabled at Secondary Stage IEDSS, साक्षर भारत। तो इसका आंसर है मेरे पास scheme for primary and secondary education in India. Introduction. Education is a fundamental right of every individual and plays a crucial role in the development of a country. In India, various schemes have been launched by the government to improve the quality and accessibility of primary and secondary education for all citizens. This project will discuss the following schemes: Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan SSA, National Programming of Mid-Day Following Meal in School, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan RMSA, Inclusive Education for the Disabled at Secondary Stage IEDSS, and SAR Bharat. Number 1, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan SSA. Launched in 2001, SSA is a flagship program of the Government of India that aims to provide a universal access to education for all children in age group of 6 to 14 years. This scheme focused on increasing enrollment and retention of children in schools in improving the quality of education and ensuring gender and social inclusion. Number 2, national program of midday meals in school. The scheme was launched in 1995 was with the objective of improving and nutritional status of children and increasing enrollment and retention in primary schools. Under this scheme, free midday meals are provided to school going children and primary and upper primary classes. Number 3, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan RMSA, launched in 2009. RMSA aims to enhance the quality of secondary education by providing infrastructure and facility in schools, strengthening teachers' capacity, and introducing new curriculum and pedagogy. Number 4, inclusive education for the disabled secondary stage IEDSS. Launched in 2009, IEDSS aims to provide equal opportunities and education for children with disabilities at the school level. The scheme focuses on providing special facilities and training the teachers and cashiers to the need of children with disabilities. Number 5, Sakshar Bharat. Launched in 2009, Sakshar Bharat aims to improve adult literacy and functional literacy among non-literate and marginalized groups. The scheme focuses on providing functional literacy and continuing education to adults, especially women, to improve their employability and overall development. Conclusion: the government of India has launched various schemes to improve the quality and accessibility of primary and secondary education for all citizens. These schemes focus on increasing enrollment and retention, improving the quality of education, strengthening teacher capacity, and providing special facilities for children with disabilities and marginalized groups. These schemes have helped in improving the literacy rates and overall development of the country. So हम लोग का आज इकोनॉमिक्स क्लास 10 का टीएमए सॉल्व हो गया है। तो आप लोग इसको लिख लीजिए और आज ही अपलोड कर दीजिए सारा टीएमए, क्योंकि आज टीएमए अपलोड करने का लास्ट डे है। तो होप आपको समझ में आ गया होगा। आप इसको लिख लीजिए और अपने दोस्तों के साथ भी शेयर कीजिए और चैनल को अभी सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, क्योंकि अभी इसमें बहुत सारे अपडेट्स और प्रैक्टिकल्स और बहुत सारे चीज एनआईएस के रिलेटेड आने वाला है। तो तब तक के लिए बाय।